Danny Martinez pressed his face against the cold hospital window and watched the cars move like tiny ants on the street below. The 12-year-old boy looked much smaller than he should for his age. His brown hair had fallen out months ago from all the medicine the doctors gave him. A blue cap sat crooked on his head, covering the bald spots he was too embarrassed to show. The room smelled like cleaning products and sadness. Machines beeped softly around his bed. Tubes ran from his thin arms to bags of clear liquid hanging on metal poles. Danny had been living in this room at St. Mary's Children's Hospital for 3 months now. The doctors said he had something called leukemia. His blood was sick, and it was getting worse every day. Danny turned away from the window when he heard footsteps in the hallway. A woman with kind eyes and a bright yellow shirt walked into his room. She had a clipboard in her hands and a big smile on her face. Danny knew who she was. Her name was Linda Scott, and she worked for the Make-A-Wish Foundation. "Hi there, Danny," Linda said softly. She pulled a chair close to his bed and sat down. "How are you feeling today?" Danny shrugged. That was his answer for most questions these days. He felt tired all the time and his bones hurt, but he did not like to complain. His mama had enough to worry about already. "I have some exciting news," Linda continued. "We sent your wish request to Clint Eastwood's people last week. We asked him to make a short video message for you." Danny's eyes lit up for the first time in days. Clint Eastwood was his hero. He had watched every single one of his movies at least 10 times. His favorite was Dirty Harry because Eastwood was so tough and cool in it. Danny dreamed of being that brave someday. When the Make-A-Wish people had asked him what he wanted most in the world, Danny did not ask for a trip to Disney World like most kids. He did not want to meet a sports star or go on a fancy vacation. He just wanted to hear Clint Eastwood say, "Make my day, kid," in that rough voice that made Danny feel strong inside. "What did he say?" Danny asked. His voice was barely a whisper, but Linda heard the hope in it. Linda's smile faded a little. She looked down at her clipboard and cleared her throat. "Well, sweetie, we got a response from his publicist. Her name is Helen Burke, and she handles all of Mr. Eastwood's requests." Danny waited. He could feel his heart beating faster, which made the machines beep a little louder. "She said that Mr. Eastwood doesn't do charity cases," Linda said quietly. "I'm sorry, Danny. Sometimes famous people are very busy and they can't help everyone who asks." The words hit Danny like a punch to his stomach. He felt his eyes fill with tears, but he blinked them back. Tough guys like Dirty Harry did not cry. Danny nodded and looked out the window again. "Maybe we can try someone else," Linda suggested. "What about that actor who plays Spider-Man? Or maybe a football player?" "No, thank you," Danny said. His voice sounded even smaller than before. "It's okay." Linda stayed for a few more minutes, but Danny did not want to talk anymore. After she left, he pulled the covers over his head and let the tears come. He had not asked for much, just a few words from his hero. Just something to make him feel brave while his body was giving up on him. Dr. Patricia Wells knocked on Danny's door later that afternoon. She was Danny's main doctor, and he liked her because she always told him the truth even when it was scary. She had gray hair and wore glasses that made her look smart. Danny trusted her more than anyone else in the hospital. "Danny, I need to talk to you and your family," Dr. Wells said. Her voice was serious. Danny's mama, Rosa Martinez, had been sleeping in the uncomfortable chair next to his bed. She woke up when she heard the doctor's voice. Danny's older sister, Maria, was there too. She was 17 and had been spending every day at the hospital since Danny got really sick. "What is it, doctor?" Rosa asked. She spoke with a slight accent because she had moved to America from Mexico when she was young. Her hands were shaking. As she stood up, Dr. Wells sat down and folded her hands in her lap. "Danny's latest blood test showed that the leukemia is spreading faster than we hoped. The treatments we've been trying are not working as well as we need them to." "What does that mean?" Maria asked. She was trying to sound tough, but Danny could see she was scared. "It means we need to prepare for the possibility that Danny might not have as much time as we originally thought," Dr. Wells said gently. "Maybe weeks instead of months." The room went quiet except for the beeping of machines. Danny watched his mama cover her face with her hands. Maria grabbed Danny's hand and squeezed it tight. "How long?" Rosa whispered. "It's hard to say exactly. Maybe a few weeks. Maybe a little longer if we try some new treatments, but Danny, I want you to know that we're going to do everything we can to keep you comfortable and happy." Danny nodded. He had known this day would come. He had felt his body getting weaker every day. Sometimes he could barely lift his arms, and walking to the bathroom made him dizzy. But hearing the words out loud made it real in a way that scared him. That night, after his mama and sister had gone home to get some sleep, Danny lay in his hospital bed staring at the ceiling. The hallway outside his room was quiet, except for the soft footsteps of nurses checking on other patients. Danny thought about Clint Eastwood and wondered what it would feel like to be that tough. In the movies, Eastwood never seemed afraid of anything. He faced down bad guys with guns and never backed down from a fight. Danny wished he could be like that. He wished he could face his sickness like Dirty Harry would face a criminal. But instead he just felt small and scared and very, very tired. He closed his eyes and tried to imagine Clint Eastwood's voice saying, "Make my day, kid." But the voice in his head sounded weak and far away, nothing like the strong hero he had dreamed about meeting. Danny fell asleep wondering if anyone in the EO world really cared about a sick kid who just wanted to feel brave one more time. Maria Martinez could not sleep that night. She kept thinking about the look on her little brother's face when the Make-A-Wish lady told him about Clint Eastwood's rejection. Danny had tried to hide his sadness, but Maria knew him too well. She had seen him cry under his blanket after everyone thought he was sleeping. Maria sat in her bedroom with her phone in her hands. She was angry, really angry. How could a famous person be so mean to a dying kid? Danny never asked for anything big. He never complained about being sick. He just wanted to hear a few words from his hero. That was all. She looked at her phone and had an idea. Maria was good with social media. She had thousands of followers on her accounts because she posted videos about taking care of her sick brother. People liked her honesty about how hard it was to watch someone you love get sicker every day. Maria walked quietly to Danny's room. Her mama was sleeping in the chair next to his bed like she did every night now. Danny was awake, staring at the ceiling. The machines around his bed glowed softly in the dark. "Danny," Maria whispered. "Can I talk to you?" Danny turned his head toward her. Even that small movement seemed to tire him out. "What is it?" "I want to make a video about what happened today, about Clint Eastwood saying no to your wish." Danny shook his head. "I don't want to cause trouble." "You're not causing trouble, he is." Maria sat on the edge of his bed. "Danny, you're the bravest person I know. You fight this sickness every single day and you never give up. People should know about that, and they should know how mean his people were to you." Danny was quiet for a long time, then he said, "What would I have to do?" "Just tell people about your wish. Tell them why Clint Eastwood is your hero. Tell them how it felt when they said no." Danny thought about it. He was scared of being on camera looking so sick and bald. But maybe Maria was right. Maybe people should know that famous people sometimes hurt kids' feelings. "Okay," Danny said softly. "But promise me something." "What?" "Promise me you won't make me look like I'm begging. I don't want to beg anybody for anything." Maria's eyes filled with tears. Her little brother was dying, but he still had his pride. "I promise." The next morning, Maria set up her phone on a small tripod next to Danny's hospital bed. She made sure the lighting was good so people could see Danny's face clearly. She wanted them to see how young he was, how sick he looked, but also how brave he was trying to be. "Ready?" Maria asked. Danny nodded. He had put on his favorite blue cap and his cleanest hospital gown. He wanted to look good for the video. Maria started recording. "Hi everyone, my name is Maria Martinez, and this is my little brother Danny. He's 12 years old and he has leukemia. The doctors say he doesn't have much time left." Danny waved at the camera with a weak smile. Danny made a wish through the Make-A-Wish Foundation. He didn't ask for anything big or expensive. He just wanted his hero, Clint Eastwood, to say a Few words to him. Just a short video message saying, "Make my day, kid." That's all. Maria's voice started to shake with anger. Yesterday, we found out that Clint Eastwood's people said no. They said he doesn't do charity cases. Charity cases. That's what they called my dying brother. Danny looked directly into the camera. I watch all your movies, Mr. Eastwood. You taught me how to be brave. I try to be like Dirty Harry every day when I'm scared about being sick. I don't understand why you won't just say a few words to me. I'm not asking you to visit or give me money. I just want to hear you say, "Make my day, kid," one time. Danny's voice broke a little at the end, but he did not cry. Maria was proud of him for being so strong. If you think this is wrong, please share this video, Maria said to the camera. Maybe if enough people see it, Mr. Eastwood will change his mind. Maybe he'll remember that he used to be a kid too. Maria posted the video on all her social media accounts. She titled it, "Clint Eastwood Won't Grant a Dying Boy's Last Wish." Then she went to make lunch for her mama and tried not to think about it. When she checked her phone 2 hours later, Maria could not believe what she saw. The video had been shared over 1,000 times already. People were commenting with angry messages about Clint Eastwood. They were sharing their own stories about sick family members. They were saying Danny deserved better. By dinner time, the video had been shared 50,000 times. Local news stations were calling Maria's phone. Newspapers wanted to interview Danny. People from all over the country were sending messages of support. Maria showed Danny her phone. His eyes went wide as he saw all the comments from strangers saying they were praying for him and that Clint Eastwood should be ashamed. "Look at this one," Maria said, reading from her screen. "This lady from Texas says her son died of cancer last year, and meeting his favorite baseball player was the only thing that made him smile in his last weeks. She's really mad that they said no to you. And this guy from New York says he's never watching another Clint Eastwood movie until he makes this right," Maria continued. Danny was amazed. "All these people care about me?" "Of course they do. You're easy to care about, Danny." The video kept spreading. By the next morning, it had been shared over 1 million times. Danny Martinez was trending on Twitter. Eastwood Heartless was trending too. Famous people were sharing the video and demanding that Clint Eastwood do the right thing. News reporters started showing up at the hospital. Dr. Wells had to hire security guards to keep them from bothering Danny too much, but she let a few of them interview Danny because she thought it might help his wish come true. On the morning news, Danny told a reporter, "I still think Mr. Eastwood is a great actor. I hope he's not really as mean as his people made him sound. Maybe he just doesn't know about me yet." The reporter asked Danny what he would say to Clint Eastwood if he was watching. Danny looked right into the camera. "I would say thank you for making movies that taught me how to be brave, and I would ask you to please not be afraid of me just because I'm sick. I'm still just a kid who thinks you're the coolest person in the world." Meanwhile, far away in space where Earth looked like just a tiny blue dot, alien ships moved through the darkness. The beings inside these ships had been listening to Earth's radio and television signals for months. They were learning about humans before they decided whether to invade the planet or not. Commander Vextar sat in his captain's chair and watched the news reports about Danny Martinez on his ship's main screen. The aliens had been studying human behavior, looking for weaknesses they could use in a war. But this story confused him. Millions of humans were getting angry about one sick child they had never met. They were organizing together, sharing information faster than his military computers could track. They were turning their anger into action. "This is unusual," Vextar said to his second-in-command. "The humans are showing pack behavior over a single offspring that is not related to them. Should we be concerned, Commander?" Vextar watched more news coverage of Danny's story spreading around the world. Humans in different countries were sharing the video and demanding action. They were uniting over a stranger's pain. "Perhaps," Vextar said quietly, "make a note in our files. These humans seem to have strong protective instincts for their young, even for young that are not their own." Back on Earth, Danny was getting tired from all the excitement, but he felt something he had not felt in months. He felt hope. Maybe, just maybe, his hero would change his mind. Clint Eastwood sat in his office in Carmel, California, looking at his phone with a deep frown on his weathered face. At 94 years old, he had seen a lot in his life, but he had never seen anything like this. His phone had been ringing, non-stop for 3 days. Reporters were camping outside his house. His email was flooded with angry messages from people all over the world. Helen Burke, his publicist, paced back and forth across the room. She looked worried and tired. Her usual, perfect hair was messy and she had dark circles under her eyes from not sleeping. "This is a disaster, Clint," Helen said. "Your Twitter mentions are 90% hate mail. People are calling for boycotts of all your movies. The studio is getting nervous about the new film project." Clint picked up a newspaper from his desk. The front page had a picture of Danny Martinez in his hospital bed, smiling weakly at the camera. The headline read, "Heartless Hollywood, Dying Boy's Simple Wish Rejected." "I didn't even know about the kid's request," Clint said quietly. "You handled all that?" "I was protecting you," Helen replied. "You get hundreds of these requests every month. We can't say yes to everyone or you'd never have time for your real work." Clint stared at the picture of Danny. The boy looked so small and fragile, but there was something brave in his eyes. It reminded Clint of himself when he was young and struggling to make it in Hollywood. Back then, he would have given anything for his hero, Gary Cooper, to notice him. "What exactly did the boy ask for?" Clint asked. Helen looked uncomfortable. "Just a short video message. He wanted you to say, 'Make my day, kid,' or something like that. It would have taken maybe 2 minutes." Clint was quiet for a long time. Outside, his window, he could see news vans parked on his street. Reporters with cameras were hoping to catch him leaving his house. "Set it up," Clint said finally. "Set what up?" "A visit to the hospital. I want to meet this kid." Helen looked shocked. "Clint, I don't think that's a good idea. The media circus will be insane, and what if he's not doing well? It could be very upsetting." "I've seen worse things than a sick kid," Clint said firmly. "Call the hospital. Tell them I'm coming." 2 days later, Clint Eastwood's black car pulled up outside St. Mary's Children's Hospital. A crowd of reporters and photographers rushed toward the vehicle, shouting questions and taking pictures. Hospital security guards formed a path through the crowd so Clint could walk to the entrance. Clint wore his usual outfit: jeans, a simple shirt, and a baseball cap pulled low over his eyes. He did not stop to answer any questions from the reporters. He just walked straight into the hospital with his head down. Dr. Wells met him at the elevator. "Mr. Eastwood, thank you for coming. I want you to know that Danny is having a good day today. He's been so excited since we told him you were coming." "How bad is he?" Clint asked as they rode up to Danny's floor. "He's very sick," Dr. Wells said. "Honestly. But he's a fighter. That boy has more courage than most adults I know." They walked down the hallway toward Danny's room. Clint could see flowers and balloons everywhere. Cards and letters from all over the world were taped to the walls. Nurses and other hospital workers stopped what they were doing to stare at the famous actor. Outside Danny's room, Clint paused. Through the window, he could see the boy sitting up in bed, wearing a clean blue cap and a nervous smile. His mother and sister were there looking just as nervous. "You ready?" Dr. Wells asked. Clint nodded and walked into the room. "Hi there, Danny," Clint said in his famous rough voice. Danny's eyes went wide. For a moment, he could not speak. His hero was really there, standing in his hospital room. Clint Eastwood looked older than in his movies, with more wrinkles and gray hair, but his eyes were still sharp and strong. "Mr. Eastwood," Danny whispered. "You came." "Course I came, kid. Had to meet the toughest guy in California." Danny smiled, but then his face got serious. "I'm sorry about all the trouble. I didn't want my sister to make that video cause problems for you." Clint sat down in the chair next to Danny's bed. "You didn't cause any problems, son. Sometimes adults make mistakes, and we have to fix them." "I watch all your movies," Danny said quietly. "They help me feel brave when I'm scared about being sick." "What's your favorite one?" "Dirty Harry. I like how you never give up, even when the bad guys seem stronger than you." Clint nodded. You know what I learned making all those movies? The real heroes aren't the guys with guns who fight bad guys. The real heroes are people like you. Me? Danny looked confused. But I'm just sick. I can't do anything brave. Kid, you've been fighting the biggest fight there is every single day. For months. You get up every morning knowing you're sick, knowing it hurts, knowing it's scary, and you keep going anyway. That's braver than anything Dirty Harry ever did. Danny's eyes filled with tears, but they were happy tears. His hero thought he was brave. Clint stayed for 3 hours. He told Danny stories from making his movies. He talked about the horses he worked with in his westerns and the funny things that happened during filming. Danny laughed more than he had in months. "Can I ask you something, Mr. Eastwood?" Danny said when it was getting late. "Sure thing." "Will you say the thing? The thing I wanted to hear?" Clint smiled and leaned closer to Danny's bed. In his famous, Dirty Harry voice, he said, "Go ahead, make my day, kid." But then he added something that was not from any movie. In his own voice, warm and kind, he said, "You're the toughest guy I've ever met, Danny Martinez." Danny smiled so big that his whole face lit up. "Thank you, Mr. Eastwood. This is the best day I've had since I got sick." Before he left, Clint made a promise to Danny. "I'm going to start a foundation to help other kids like you. We'll call it the Danny Martinez Foundation. How does that sound?" Danny could not believe it. "You'd really do that?" "A promise is a promise, kid." After Clint left the hospital, he stood outside and talked to the reporters for the first time. "That boy in there has more courage than anyone I've ever met. Sometimes we get so busy with our own lives that we forget what really matters." Danny Martinez reminded me. Far away in space, Commander Vextar watched the news coverage of Clint Eastwood's visit to Danny. The alien commander had been studying this story for days, trying to understand what it meant. The old human warrior visited the sick child, Vextar said to his crew. But look at what happened after the video of the child spread across their planet. On his ship's screens, Vextar showed his crew how humans had organized around Danny's story. Millions of people had shared the video. They had demanded action from a powerful celebrity. They had united across their different countries and cultures to help one sick child they had never met. In less than 1 week, they turned sympathy for a single offspring into a planet-wide movement, Vextar explained. Their communication networks moved faster than our military systems. They showed pack loyalty to a stranger. "What does this mean for our invasion plans?" asked his second-in-command. Vextar was quiet for a moment. "It means these humans are not like other species. We have conquered. They have something we did not account for in our battle plans." "What is that, Commander?" "They have each other, and they will fight for each other, even for young ones that are not their own blood. This changes everything." Danny Martinez felt stronger after Clint Eastwood's visit. The doctor said it was just his body having a good week, but Danny knew it was more than that. His hero had called him brave. His hero had promised to help other sick kids. For the first time in months, Danny felt like he mattered. The hospital room looked different now. Instead of feeling like a prison, it felt like the center of something important. Letters and gifts arrived every day from people all over the world. Kids from schools in Japan sent origami cranes. A class in Germany made a giant card with pictures. They drew of Danny as a superhero. An old man in Australia sent a wooden toy horse that he had carved himself. "Look at this one," Maria said, reading from a letter. "It's from a girl in Canada. She says her little brother had the same sickness as you, and meeting his favorite singer helped him feel brave too." Danny smiled as he listened. "Read me another." 1. Rosa Martinez sat in her usual chair, but she looked different too. The worry lines around her eyes were still there, but she smiled more now. Watching strangers care about her son had given her hope she thought she had lost. "Mijo, you're famous," she said in Spanish, then switched to English. "People everywhere know your name." Dr. Wells came in with her clipboard and her kind smile. "Danny, I have some good news. Your blood tests this week are a little better. The new treatment we tried seems to be helping." "Does that mean I'm getting better?" Danny asked. "It means you're fighting hard and your body is responding. We'll take it one day at a time." Danny nodded. 1 day at a time, was all he had ever asked for. Meanwhile, Clint Eastwood was busier than he had been in years. He had meant what he said about starting a foundation for sick kids. Within a week of his hospital visit, lawyers were drawing up papers and accountants were setting up bank accounts. The Danny Martinez Foundation was becoming real. Clint's assistant brought him a stack of letters and emails. These are from other children's hospitals. They want to know if the foundation will help their kids too. Clint read through some of the letters. Each one told a story of a sick child who had a simple wish. Some wanted to meet athletes, others wanted to visit special places. A few just wanted someone famous to tell them they were brave. We'll help them all, Clint said. Start with the ones who don't have much time left. The story of Danny and Clint had become something bigger than either of them expected. News shows talked about it every day. Famous people shared their own stories of meeting sick kids. Regular people started visiting children's hospitals in their towns. A movement was growing. It started with one boy's wish, but it was becoming something that touched millions of hearts around the world. In the darkness of space, far beyond where human eyes could see, the Zephyrian invasion fleet continued its slow journey toward Earth. Hundreds of massive ships moved through the void, carrying weapons and soldiers that could destroy entire cities. Commander Vextar stood on the bridge of his flagship, watching reports from the advanced scouts who had been monitoring Earth for months. The data they sent back was troubling. "Show me the Danny Martinez analysis again," Vextar ordered. His tactical officer brought up holographic displays showing Earth's communication networks during the past month. Bright lines of data showed how information had moved across the planet. When Danny's video first appeared, the speed of their response was unprecedented, the officer reported. Within hours of the video's release, millions of their communication nodes were sharing the same information. Their network achieved coordination faster than our military systems. Vextar studied the patterns. What about their emotional response? That's the most concerning part, Commander. They showed immediate protective behavior toward an offspring that was not related to them. Humans from different tribes, different territories, different belief systems, all united around this single child. Another officer stepped forward. "Sir, we've identified similar patterns in their history. When their young are threatened, humans can mobilize their entire species in a matter of days." Vextar thought about this. The Zephyrians were a warrior race. They were strong and smart and had conquered dozens of planets. But they had never seen anything like what the humans had done for Danny Martinez. "What does Supreme Admiral Korthig say about these findings?" Vextar asked. "The Admiral believes human emotion is a weakness we can exploit," his officer replied. "He says their caring for strangers will make them easy to manipulate and control." Vextar was not so sure. He had watched the human response to Danny's story very carefully. What he saw was not weakness. He saw a species that could turn love into a weapon. Back on Earth, Danny was having one of his better days. He was sitting, up in bed, drawing a picture of Clint Eastwood as Dirty Harry. His art was not very good because his hands shook from the medicine, but he enjoyed it. "Danny, you have visitors," Dr. Wells said, poking her head into the room. 3 children walked in, followed by their parents. They were all bald like Danny, and they all looked thin and tired. Danny recognized them immediately. They were other kids from the cancer ward. "We wanted to thank you," said a girl named Emma who was about Danny's age. "Because of your video, my favorite singer sent me a message too. She sang my favorite song just for me." A boy named Jake, who was only 8 years old, held up a baseball cap signed by his favorite player. "The baseball team heard about you and decided to visit kids like us. Look what they gave me." The third child, a teenager named Alex, showed Danny a picture on his phone. "My wish was to meet the people who make video games. They not only met with me, but they're putting my name in their next game as a character." Danny felt warm inside. "That's so cool. All of you got your wishes." "Because of you," Emma said. "Adults are paying attention to us now. They're not just seeing us as sick kids anymore. They're seeing us as people with dreams." After the children left, Danny thought about what Emma had said. He had not just gotten his own wish. He had helped other kids get their wishes too. Maybe that was what being a hero really meant. Maybe heroes were not the people who saved the day in movies. Maybe heroes were people who helped others believe in themselves. That night, Danny fell asleep feeling proud of what he had done. He did not know that millions of miles away, alien commanders were having meetings about him. He did not know that. His simple wish had shown the galaxy something dangerous about humanity. Commander Vextar finished reading the latest reports from Earth. The Danny Martinez story was still spreading. New videos were appearing every day of celebrities visiting sick children. Humans were organizing charity events and raising money for children's hospitals. They were showing the same unity and rapid response that had made Danny's video go viral. Prepare. A message for Supreme Admiral Kortheg, Vextar ordered. Tell him we need to reconsider our invasion strategy. What should I say, Commander? Vextar looked at the image of Earth on his main screen. The small blue planet looked peaceful from space, but he now knew it held something more dangerous than any weapon. Tell him that humans are not like other species we have conquered. They have the ability to unite across their entire planet in defense of their young, even young that are not their own. This makes them unpredictable and potentially very dangerous. And our invasion plans? We proceed, but with extreme caution. We are not just fighting human technology. We are fighting human love. And that may be the most powerful force in the universe. 3 months had passed since Clint Eastwood's visit to the hospital. Danny Martinez had fought harder and longer than anyone expected, but his small body was finally giving up the fight. The medicines that had helped him feel better for a while stopped working. The cancer was winning. Dr. Wells sat with Danny's family in the quiet hospital room. Outside the window, the sun was setting, painting the sky in soft orange and pink colors. Danny lay peacefully in his bed, breathing slowly with the help of machines. Is he in pain? Rosa asked, holding her son's thin hand. No, Dr. Wells said, gently. We're making sure he's comfortable. He can still hear you, so keep talking to him. Maria sat on the other side of Danny's bed. She had barely left the hospital in weeks. Danny, remember when we were little, and you used to make me watch all those cowboy movies with you? I pretended I didn't like them, but I really did. You made everything more fun. Danny's eyes opened slowly. His voice was barely a whisper. Maria? I'm here, little brother. Did we help other kids? Did the foundation really happen? Maria smiled through her tears. Yes, Danny. Clint Eastwood kept his promise. The Danny Martinez Foundation has already helped over 200 sick kids meet their heroes. You started something amazing. Danny smiled weakly. Good. That's good. A nurse came in quietly and whispered something to Dr. Wells. The doctor nodded and walked over to the family. Danny has some visitors, she said. Someone very special wanted to see him. Clint Eastwood walked into the room, carrying a large photo album. At 94, the famous actor looked older and more tired than during his last visit, but his eyes were still kind and strong. Hey there, tough guy, Clint said softly, sitting down next to Danny's bed. Mr. Eastwood, Danny whispered. You came back. Couldn't miss saying goodbye to my favorite hero, Clint replied. He opened the photo album. I brought you something. Pictures of all the kids the foundation has helped. Look at this little girl from Texas. She got to meet her favorite princess character, and this boy from New York met his favorite superhero, actor. Danny looked at each picture with wonder. Even though he was very sick, his eyes lit up as he saw other children smiling and laughing with their heroes. They all look so happy, Danny said. That's because of you, son. You showed the world that every kid deserves to feel special, no matter how sick they are. Danny was quiet for a moment. Then he asked, Mr. Eastwood, do you think I was brave enough? Clint leaned closer. Danny, you were the bravest person I ever knew. You taught me what real courage looks like. It's not about fighting bad guys with guns. It's about facing each day with hope, even when everything seems hopeless. That evening, Danny Martinez passed away peacefully in his sleep. His family was with him, and so was Clint Eastwood. The boy who had just wanted to hear his hero say a few words died, knowing that he had helped hundreds of other children find their own heroes. The news of Danny's death spread around the world as quickly as his original video had. People who had never met him felt like they had lost a friend. The funeral was held at the biggest church in the city, but it was not big enough. Thousands of people came to say goodbye to the brave little boy who had touched their hearts. Clint Eastwood was one of the people who helped carry Danny's coffin. The sight of the famous tough guy actor crying openly made even hardened news reporters wipe their eyes. Danny Martinez was 12 years old, Clint said at the funeral. He lived for 12 years, but in those years he showed more courage than most people show in a lifetime. He reminded us all that the smallest acts of kindness can change the world. That same day, far above Earth's atmosphere, something impossible happened. Massive alien ships suddenly appeared in the sky. They were huge, bigger than entire cities, and they blocked out the sun over major capitals around the world. The ships had been traveling toward Earth for months, but they had been invisible to human technology. Now they revealed themselves, hanging in the sky like dark clouds of metal and death. People looked up from Danny's funeral and saw the alien ships overhead. Fear spread through the crowd, but something else spread too. The same people who had united to help a sick boy now faced a threat to their entire planet. Supreme Admiral Korthag of the Zephyrian Empire broadcast a message to every television, radio, and internet connection on Earth. His voice was cold and mechanical as it was translated into every human language. People of Earth, you are now under the control of the Zephyrian Empire. You have 24 hours to surrender completely. Your governments must transfer all power to us, or we will begin destroying your cities. Resistance is useless. We have studied your species and found you weak and divided. The message ended, and for a moment the world was silent. Then something amazing began to happen. The same social networks that had spread Danny's video began spreading something new. People started posting messages of defiance. They shared pictures of Danny Martinez with words like, "We fight for our children," and "Danny taught us to be brave." Within hours, Your Earth United and You Are For Danny were trending worldwide. People who had been at Danny's funeral posted videos saying they would not give up without a fight. The boy's story became a symbol of human courage in the face of impossible odds. Commander Vextar watched from his ship as Earth's communication networks exploded with activity. The same rapid coordination he had observed during Danny's campaign was happening again, but this time, it was organizing the entire planet for war. "Commander," his tactical officer reported, "their governments are coordinating defense strategies, using the same networks that spread the sick child's video. Military units from different nations are sharing information and resources. Civilian populations are organizing supply lines and evacuation procedures." Vextar studied the data streams flowing across his screens. "How fast are they organizing?" "Faster than our computers can track, sir. They're using the same viral communication methods that made the boy's story spread across their planet in hours." On the bridge of the command ship, Supreme Admiral Korthag was becoming angry. He had expected panic and chaos when the humans saw their fleet. Instead, he was watching the most rapid military coordination he had ever seen. "These humans are not behaving according to our projections," he growled. "Why are they not surrendering?" Vextar pulled up images from Danny's funeral on the main screen. "Admiral, I believe their response is connected to this event. The death of the sick child has become a rallying symbol for their species." "One sick child? That is ridiculous." "Perhaps, but look at their behavior patterns. The same networks that united them around the child are now uniting them against us. They are not just defending territory or resources. They are defending their young, their vulnerable, their future." Korthag dismissed the concern with a wave of his clawed hand. "Emotion will not stop our weapons. Begin the attack on their major cities. Once they see our power, they will surrender." But Vextar was not so sure. He had watched humans organize around love before. Now he was about to see what happened when that love turned into fury. The alien attack began at dawn the next day. Massive energy beams shot down from the Zephyrian ships, destroying military bases and government buildings in major cities around the world. The aliens expected humans to panic and surrender within hours. Instead, they got something they had never seen before in all their conquests. Humanity fought back. Within minutes of the first attack, Videos appeared on social media showing ordinary people helping each other escape from burning buildings. Rescue workers ran toward danger to save strangers. Parents shielded children they had never met before. The same networks that had once spread Danny's video now coordinated rescue efforts across the globe. Maria Martinez stood in the ruins of what used to be downtown, helping pull survivors from collapsed buildings. She wore a t-shirt with Danny's picture on it and the words, "Be brave like Danny." "Over here," she shouted to a rescue team. "I can hear someone trapped under this concrete." A firefighter named Joe Kelly worked beside her, moving heavy chunks of stone. "Your brother started something special," he said as they dug. "My own kid saw his video last year. Changed how our whole family thinks about helping others." "Danny would want us to help everyone we can," Maria replied, not stopping her work even as alien ships flew overhead. Around the world, the same scene was happening everywhere. Humans were not running away from the fight. They were running toward each other, protecting the vulnerable, sharing resources, and refusing to give up. In military command centers, generals from different countries worked together using the same communication networks that had once spread Danny's story. Colonel Sarah Blake from the United States talked directly with Commander Liu Wei from China and General Ahmed Hassan from Egypt. "The alien ships are targeting our biggest weapons first," Colonel Blake reported over the secure video link. "But they're not expecting our smaller, coordinated attacks." "My pilots are ready to sacrifice everything," Commander Wei said. "The story of the brave boy has inspired our whole Air Force. They fight not just for China, but for all human children." General Hassan nodded. "Same here. Our people remember how the world came together for one sick child. Now we come together for all children." The aliens had superior technology and massive ships, but they had made one crucial mistake. They had attacked humanity on the day after Danny Martinez's funeral, when the entire planet was already united in grief and love for a brave little boy. Clint Eastwood sat in his home in California, watching the news coverage of the invasion. At 95 years old, he was too old to fight in any normal way, but he was not ready to give up. He picked up his phone and called his assistant. "Get me a meeting with the military leaders," he said. "I have an idea. Mr. Eastwood, the government, is pretty busy right now with the alien invasion. Tell them it's about Danny Martinez. Tell them I know how to turn his story into a weapon." 2 hours later, Clint was in a video conference with generals from around the world. His idea was simple but powerful. "The aliens have been studying our communications," Clint explained. "They know about Danny's story. They know how it united us. What they don't know is that we can use that same unity as a military strategy." "What do you mean?" asked Colonel Blake. "I mean, we broadcast Danny's story directly to their ships. We show them what humans do when our children are threatened. We let them see what they're really fighting against." The plan was crazy, but it might work. Within hours, every broadcasting station on Earth was sending the same signal toward the alien fleet. Danny's original video, the story of his wish, the footage of millions of humans coming together to help a sick boy. But they added something new. They added footage of humans helping each other during the invasion. They showed rescue workers risking their lives for strangers. They showed children sharing food with other children they had never met. They showed the same love that had united the world for Danny now being used to defend their entire species. Commander Vexitar watched these broadcasts from his ship and felt something he had never experienced before. Fear. Not fear of human weapons or technology, but fear of what humans were willing to do for each other. "Admiral," he called to the command ship, "you need to see this." Supreme Admiral Korthag appeared on the communication screen, looking angry. "What is it, Commander? Why is our advance moving so slowly?" "The humans are not fighting like any species we have encountered. They are using their emotional bonds as a tactical advantage. Watch this." Vexitar showed the Admiral footage of human pilots flying suicide missions to protect evacuation ships. He showed soldiers sharing their last food with wounded enemies. He showed civilians forming human shields around children's hospitals. "This is the species you called weak and divided," Vexitar said quietly. Meanwhile, on Earth, the strangest thing was happening. The more the aliens attacked, the more united humanity became. Countries that had been enemies for decades were now working together. Rich and poor people shared whatever they had. Adults who had never met were dying to protect each other's children. Clint Eastwood made one final decision. He was old and sick himself now, and he knew he did not have much time left anyway. He volunteered for the most dangerous mission of all, flying a nuclear bomb directly into the main alien command ship. "You don't have to do this," Colonel Blake told him over the radio as he prepared for takeoff. "We can find a younger pilot." Danny Martinez faced death with courage when he was 12 years old, Clint replied. "I think I can manage it at 95. As Clint's small fighter plane approached the massive alien ship, he thought about Danny. The boy had wanted to be brave, like Dirty Harry. Now Clint was trying to be brave like Danny. "This one's for you, kid," Clint said into his radio as he flew toward the alien ship. "Make my day, you alien bastards." The explosion that followed lit up the sky for hundreds of miles. The alien command ship was destroyed, and with it, the coordination system for their entire fleet. But more importantly, every human on Earth had watched an old man sacrifice himself for people he would never meet, the same way a sick boy had once inspired millions of strangers to care about his simple wish. The remaining alien ships began to retreat. Supreme Admiral Korthag was dead, and Commander Vexitar was now in charge of what was left of the invasion fleet. "All ships, return to home territory," Vexitar ordered. "Commander, why are we retreating? We still have superior firepower." Vexitar looked at the images of Earth on his screen one last time. "Because we are not fighting human technology. We are fighting human love. And that is a force more powerful than any weapon we possess." Years later, when other alien species asked the Zephyrians why they had failed to conquer Earth, Vexitar would always tell them the same story. He would tell them about a 12-year-old boy who had just wanted to hear his hero say a few words. He would explain how that simple wish had revealed the most dangerous thing about humanity. "They do not just fight for themselves," Vexitar would say. "They fight for strangers. They fight for children they have never met. They fight for the idea that every person matters. Any species that can turn a dying child's wish into a planetary defense system is not a species you want to make angry." Earth, a monument was built where Danny Martinez was buried. It showed a small boy and an old man, representing Danny and Clint Eastwood. The inscription read, "For those who taught us that the smallest acts of love can echo across the stars, and that humanity's greatest strength has always been humanity itself." Maria Martinez visited the monument every year on the anniversary of the invasion. She would bring flowers and tell her brother's story to her own children, making sure they understood that being human meant caring about everyone, not just the people you know. "Your Uncle Danny saved the world," she would tell them. "Not with guns or bombs, but by showing people how to love each other." And somewhere in the vast darkness of space, alien commanders would add Earth to their maps with a special warning. "Dangerous species, capable of weaponizing compassion, do not engage." Danny Martinez had gotten his wish after all. He had wanted to be brave like his hero. Instead, he had taught his hero, and his entire species, what real bravery looked like.